Panago Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Gentlemen,
Adam.
I'm going to start the show with the most complicated thing possible.
Ooh, okay. Well, I haven't done algebra in a number of years, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
This is algebraic.
Okay.
In terms of how hard it is to follow.
Okay.
Except for the math whizzes out there that are in advanced stats. They're like, algebra's really easy, okay?
Actually, it's simple.
Easy. Actually, calculus is easy. You just follow the same rules and you apply it to numbers.
Do you ever see a conversation on Twitter, like an analytics conversation on Twitter, and you're like, I need someone from like 1940s British espionage to figure out what the hell they're talking about.
Of course, Urel 60%. Like, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, well, his ex,
I know, of course, Urel,
his ex followed by nonsense,
exactly,
is very good actually.
And I always have to like I find myself within one tweet Googling 3 different things, like 3 different stats. Like, what does that stat mean? What does that stat mean?
You know what I find myself doing? Not reading them anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
Don't make me work for Twitter. How dare you?
Twitter is supposed to be the pizza, right?
Yes, everyone likes it.
Don't complicate my pizza.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about...
don't be a racist pizza.
What do you think?
Sorry.
Don't be a racist pizza? What?
I don't know. I was just that stupid idiot with the frog.
Trying.
Okay.
I tried.
All right. So let's talk about the NHL right now. What do you think the most complicated thing I could tell you about the NHL is right now? Because it's a complicated league. What could this story that I'm about to impart onto thou?
Given how confused we've been by it over the last few months, I'm going to say the expansion draft.
Expansion draft, that's a good one. Really good answers. Jesse, what do you think?
The offsides last night?
That was also very confusing. Not the answer. The answer
That's
is
where I thought he was going.
Yeah.
The reason why Mike Sweeney, Don Sweeney, not Mike Sweeney. The reason why Don Sweeney fired Claude Julien.
Oh, can I tell you I on purpose avoided this?
I'm going to read it out to you.
Because I love when Adam reads to me.
I am going to read this out to you. So, it was, I guess, a reporter in Boston named Fluto asked a straightforward question.
Yeah. I know.
Straightforward question of why Sweeney fired Julien. And he said this. There's 2 paragraphs, by the way, so you have to hang in here for this.
Okay.
It never rests with a win or loss. It wasn't making a decision based on, well, we lost tonight or we won or can we win tomorrow night. It was really a communication level that I could not get past the fact that I wasn't committed in my own mind to sort of go beyond where we are right now with Claude. Okay, so do we get that far? We got that far?
Yahtzee!
Yeah. And where we as an organization, I don't know if those 2 things lined up to the level of success that he has had, the way we were playing. If the roster wasn't built, wasn't necessarily a complete or finished product, are we an elite team? No. We're a very competitive team, which is where we were last year, I had described. And I had described. He ended a sentence with, and I had described. We have areas, we have gaps in our game that exist, whether that's strictly personnel related or whether or not those are some tweaks that we need to make and continue to make. That's what's going to unfold here.
That is...
Not done yet.
Oh, great. Good.
And I think the opportunity for Bruce, who I've had a working relationship with, to come in and sort of evaluate his job where our staff is as well as our personnel is important. Where, I'm not even kidding, I'm going to reread that again, where our staff is as well as our personnel is important.
Is that Tim McCarver?
It's an important period of time that we can continue to unfold as opposed to waiting until the end of the season. As opposed to waiting until the season ended just to see if nothing.
Now you know how I felt when I had to read Don Cherry.
Oh my God! I'm going to start that sentence again. It's an important period of time that we can continue to unfold as opposed to waiting until the season ended, just seeing if we hadn't done anything, whether or not it would work out. And again, I want to read this one sentence one more time. And I think the opportunity for Bruce, who I've had a working relationship with, to come in and sort of evaluate his job where our staff is as well as our personnel is important. There we go. It sounds better now.
You know what's fun?
What did you find out about why Claude Julien was fired?
You know, nothing, first of all. You know what's great, though? Transcribing things, like, I like this. I like this a lot. This growing trend of people transcribing video and audio. The video and audio obviously is important too. You need context, or you need tone, facial expressions, hand gestures, things like that. But I've done this a few times where I've done an interview with someone and I'm like, great, I'm going to transcribe that. Oh. And you start writing out their words and you realize it's nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, that's how a politician talks.
Yep.
That's what every political leader ever sounds like.
I almost got
answer
up,
questions.
I almost got up halfway through you reading that to vote for him. It's like, I'm going to vote for Don Sweeney.
By the way, did you see Ted Cruz congratulating the woman on having MS?
Oh,
that was a clip of the day.
How
yesterday.
is he allowed?
I don't know.
To be a politician still,
not talk ever. Like, he's out there repping a party that hates him. He should stop. But anyway,
he owes me lunch money if I ever see him.
He does. He's ridiculous.
He knows that, right? Anyway,
I feel like Mr. Sweeney just made a move to make a move.
That, or he has a good reason. This is one thing that I forget to mention in every trade tree. Is, I'll see a move and it's illogical on the side of the team making a trade to the Leafs, or the team benefiting from, incompetence on the Leafs side. The other option in there that I always forget to mention is there's something that we don't know. I'm not sure there's something we don't know here. I mean, it's been rumored he was going to get fired for like 6 years. So I think, they just made a change to make a change.
I feel bad for him. Like, he was going to be fired before
Claude
they won
Julien?
the cup. Yeah.
Oh, I don't feel bad for him at all.
Oh, well, he's going to be paid a lot of money.
He's going to be paid a lot of money. He won his cup. And, it's not like he got fired and now who's going to hire him?
Yeah.
Man, no one wants to touch that Claude Julien. So, hasn't he already been offered 2 jobs?
Well, the Golden Knights are apparently interested in Claude Julien, which is my favorite. Because what are we interested in? I'm interested in $100. I'm interested in $100 of your dollars, Steve. I'm interested.
I want a golden pizza. We can put gold flakes in liquor. Why not in pizza?
Right.
The answer is you can put gold flakes on pizza. I want it. I want a sparkly
You're
pizza.
interested in it.
I'm interested in it.
So the Golden Knights apparently are in on Julien. I'm sure. I was talking to Jesse yesterday about it in the studio at KISS, and I thought, man, the Ducks really missed their window for head coaches. If they really wanted to make a move, now would be the time. And actually, I would get, if Julien wasn't available, I would go get Ken Hitchcock, because that's a veterans coach.
Ooh, yeah.
But I mean,
is he going to retire though?
Randy and the Ducks have done well. And I think he wants to keep coaching now, especially now that he got fired.
That's funny.
Which is ridiculous.
I wonder about our poor buddy Paul.
Paul Maurice?
I wonder about our poor buddy Paul.
Wow.
He's been there a while, and if they miss the playoffs by a wide margin this year, I just worry about our buddy Paul. He's the first guy I always think of. I'm rooting for him, man.
You turned Paul Maurice into a sympathetic figure.
I'm rooting for him. Because how do you lose that often? Come on.
Well,
and still get jobs.
To give Kevin Cheveldayoff credit, as much as he doesn't make moves in players, he also doesn't make moves when it comes to coaches.
He doesn't make moves.
Claude Noel, the world's happiest human being.
Claude Noel.
He was there for a long time.
Having a conversation with Paul Maurice. Which one of us is talking? You'll never know.
Do you think Kevin Cheveldayoff, when he went through with both times, when he had to hire Claude and he had to hire Paul Maurice, he was like, okay, they both sound miserable 99% of the time. Let's get that guy.
Let's get the guy with shorter hair. To replace him.
Right?
It is a good time to be looking for a coach. You're right. But now here's the thing, especially with a guy like Gerard Gallant, a guy like Ken Hitchcock, certainly a guy like Claude Julien, none of these guys need the job badly.
But they want it. They want it.
They want to be a head coach, but they're not going to settle for any team, right? There's a few factors there too with Claude Julien. Are the Bruins going to let him go to a certain team? I assume they would want him to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Because, get as far away from us as possible. We don't want to be haunted by your ghost. It's the easiest way to do it. Send him to Vegas. I think.
Yeah, Jeremy Jacobs says yes to that phone call.
Probably.
Who should be number one for the job in New York?
The Islanders?
Oh, the Islanders.
Well, Doug Waite's done well.
I
In 6 games.
think they're going to wait that out. Oh, I didn't even mean to.
Well, he's also assistant general manager, so he's got to pick one.
Not necessarily. It is the
Assistant
Islanders.
GM and coach.
I mean, Pat Quinn was the coach and GM at the Leafs for a long time.
Yeah, and then he gave up his
GM
job to John Ferguson Jr., who later fired him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep the GM post.
The assistant GM post.
Yes.
I think Doug Waite would rather be on the bench
Yeah.
than in a press box.
You're right.
So that's where it gets strange. And I mean, if the Islanders do well for the rest of the season, the Islanders would be like, yeah, please stay behind the bench. They want whatever's going to bring them success, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
It's a good time to be looking for a coach.
I wonder
Hadn't
if
thought of that.
the Panthers are not looking at Claude Julien and Ken Hitchcock and going, ooh.
That was the first thing I thought of. But also,
If I'm the Panthers, I am pushing whatever I need to do to get Claude Julien behind the bench. I'm doing it.
well, this is the interesting thing. So the smear campaign for how Gerard Gallant was fired, and also just how Gerard Gallant was fired, I wonder how it would make a coach like Julien, like Hitchcock, like Gallant's off the table.
Yeah, I
he's
don't
the
know
one they fired.
He might not come back.
So okay, the other two guys, I wonder if it makes a top tier guy like them go, nah, not for me. And then with Julien, you have the added factor of the Bruins are like, no, we're not going to give you a divisional rival. Claude Julien.
You make a good point, and you'll have to wonder: are you going to be told to coach in a certain way instead of just being told to coach? Which I would think for Julien, you know, George McPhee's going to let you be the coach, right? You know that. George McPhee in Vegas, he was the GM of the Caps for the longest time. And you could talk to your old assistant in Boston about how it was playing or coaching under George McPhee. I would say, Vegas is a great option for him. As much as it's a new franchise, and it's Vegas.
I want to say
not the worst going to the arena in your shorts. Like,
no,
seriously,
no. Well, actually, you know what I was thinking about, and stop me if you're saving this for later in the show. Did you see that Dion Phaneuf was asked to waive his no trade clause?
Yes, I'm saving that for later in the show.
Okay, well, we'll just wait then.
We'll have to wait and we'll talk that one out.
In that case, logic says the Panthers are going to wait out the season. They're finally healthy for the first time all season. They're just going to see how well they do. But they haven't exactly followed logic, or common logic anyway, all season. So you never know. They might. When was the last time a team had 3 coaches
That's a good
in
question.
a season?
What's going on with Barkov and Huberdeau saying they're going to be out for the season and then coming back in 2 weeks?
It's cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
somebody's trying to save
Especially because it's
the team there?
February. It's not like it's March, right? It's
Out for the season in January.
I gotta wonder if they were just pulling a fast one.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wonder if they were. I mean, it's not unprecedented in hockey.
Erik Karlsson being an unprecedented, when he got the ankle injury, his Achilles tendon, and then he was supposed to be out the year, and he was back by March, I think.
How about Stamkos taking 6 weeks to heal from a broken leg?
Yeah. And it was like his femur, like it was a big.
No, it was one of your shin ones. I forget.
It was?
One of your back shins, Adam.
Back shins, okay.
No, the one I think of, and this was on a much, much, much smaller scale, was one time heading into a game, Ron Wilson directly told the media, our goalie is going to be, I think it was Giguère. Our goalie is going to be Giguère tonight. And starting in net, Jonas Gustafsson. He just did it to kind of turn the tables.
You shouldn't do that.
Why?
Why would you do that?
Gamesmanship.
Nobody's at gamesmanship. Well, no one's at the Panthers games.
It's mental though. It's
no players.
What about their opponents though? I think it's mental. What did we say on the show the moment we found out that Huberdeau and Barkov were allegedly done for the season? I said, they're cooked. They're cooked. And then a week or two later, we find out they're back, and I'm like, Leafs are screwed. Leafs are screwed. Well, who are the Panthers going to play in round 1? Probably the Sens. That's going to be fun.
Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know that.
We don't. But see how it immediately changed my mindset? It changed
team.
a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So they reported that to throw everybody off.
Could change your mindset heading into a game. how you treat a team, how you prepare for a team. I don't know, Jesse.
I
truly
don't see any potential benefit there. I think
be-
Florida's
It's an
just.
odd thing.
I think it's just weird.
We're talking about the Panthers again.
Well, it's good promotion. You're right.
Yeah.
It creates extra hype around their back. And the Panthers tweeted, I think, the actual papers saying that Huberdeau and Barkov are back. I've never seen a team do that.
Like, yeah, the medical sign doctor's
Yeah.
notes, yeah.
I didn't know they had to do that. I guess, I mean, it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah,
but
like insurance purposes and that sort of thing.
God, they're fun.
That is a weird place. It's a silly place.
It's very fun.
It makes sense given the types of news stories we hear out of Florida that the Panthers are in Florida. Like, I don't know if you guys follow Florida
Florida Man.
Florida Man on Twitter.
Florida
Man
woman.
bites crocodile's face off. Crocodile was living in his bathtub.
It's
Florida
true.
Man.
Crocodile was his uncle.
Florida Man is my favorite Twitter account. Okay. Leafs rebound versus the Stars. We got lots to get to, but we got to talk about that game a little bit. That was a game where we actually saw the Leafs go, okay, I'm going to get through this. There was a little bit of, there was a moment where you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It was... That game baffled me. Because I watched that third period and I tried to ask myself, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? If you look at all their previous third periods where they had given up leads, multi-goal leads, statistically, they probably would have looked similar to this one against Dallas. They got outshot to hell in the game, in the period, and their goalie bailed them out. And what was different was the goals that went in. Mm-hmm. There was a goal post. There was an enormous save. There was a tip that went an inch wide.
Right by, yeah.
An inch wide. Now, was this the case of the Leafs getting lucky, or previously they have just been completely unlucky?
I think it might be a little column A, a little column B. I mean, I think in every game you're lucky. You get some luck going away, a couple posts a game.
A little bit, but we've seen it shift to huge extremes of the spectrum.
What was hilarious is after the game, there was a bunch of sports media people going, well, great game for the Leafs, but I ride McElhaney from now on.
Oh.
And you're like, get out of here. Are you serious?
McElhaney did his damn job, he should be commended for it. He was a backup, and sometimes that means stopping the bleeding.
Yeah.
Got a home start. That's a big bump from Babcock. That to me is an indicator. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that to me is an indicator that he's going to get more starts down the stretch. That, or you just look at it and go, well, the Leafs needed to beat the Islanders more than they needed to beat the Stars, so he went with his better goalie against the Islanders. I don't know. But McElhaney did his job. But the idea that the Leafs really held the fort, man, they gave up 40 shots to a team you don't really want to give up 40 shots to because they know how to put the puck in the net.
Right.
But they won.
Yeah, and if you're paying attention, that is, in the last 3 games, 5 out of possible 6 points.
It's unbelievable, eh?
But the sky is falling, everyone.
After last episode, you would have thought it was. And listen, the defense
they gave up,
good.
22 goals in 4 games?
It's understandable. I get it.
Come on.
Here, my favorite thing was when they talked to Leo Komarov after the game. We asked yesterday, last podcast, 2 things. Is it the talent isn't there, or is it that it's in their heads? And Leo Komarov said it is absolutely in our heads. Yes. Mike Babcock also said absolutely in our heads. The problem that Mike Babcock is having is these guys are used to playing in other systems where the coach says, okay, we've got a 3-goal lead, lock it down.
Right.
And Mike's thing is, no.
Keep
You're
going.
locking it down by playing the way you're playing, so don't stop.
100%. If the Leafs play the way they play in the first 40 minutes, 460, they beat everybody.
Yeah.
They beat almost everybody.
They've blown 11 third-period leads.
They have the most first-period goals in the NHL. And when you said 11 third-period leads, I can't believe it's only 11.
I know. You'd think it was every game, right?
It has to be.
It feels like it.
I think that's wrong.
Well,
that has to be wrong.
That was what they said on the TV. So
I've watched them blow multiple 30-goal leads in a game.
Well, maybe they're just counting in 11 games.
Oh, see?
Maybe that's what it is.
I would love to know how many leads they've blown over the course of the season.
How many points left on the table? I don't want to know that yet.
No, like I'm talking about like in the first game of the season against Ottawa and in the Islanders game, I think they blew 4 different leads against the Islanders. And they had 2 or 3 in the Sens, like the first game of the season. You see what I'm saying?
I get you.
But they won.
They won.
It's also all relative. You have to get the lead to blow it, and then other teams, they won't blow as many leads because they're not getting the leads.
That's true.
Jesse, I'm with you.
Good point.
Jesse, look, I'm trying. I'm trying to be with you.
I'm just trying to...
No,
break
Now,
your
who spoke to them? Who spoke to the Leafs?
Who spoke to them?
Yeah, who's talking to them? Who's going to get it out of your head?
well, Rob
How
and
do you fix
Babcock
that?
would be 2 of them. I would think.
Babcock.
I think a game like this, whether or not you got lucky, sometimes you have to get lucky to get over the hump, right? Sometimes you have to get lucky to go, okay, we can do this. Because you know what? Give them a little bit of credit. They did. What I found...
That second goal in the Emmy, just... I mean, it was tipped, I suppose, but wow.
Great. I liked it.
Yeah.
What I found was their gap control was better, and they had
That's
less.
something I've started to look for so much more.
Right?
Yeah.
So important. And in the third period, you noticed when the Leafs are giving up leads, the gaps between their players and the other players is huge because they're backing up. At some point, you got to challenge the guy, right?
I'm really big on players where they do one big thing wrong, because I'm like, all they got to do is clamp down on that one big thing and they'll be so much better. And I don't remember who it was, but one of the analysts pointed to Connor Carrick very early in the season and was like, look at his gap control. This guy gives so much respect to the attacker, and all over the season, it's still too big, but I'm watching him just get a little closer, a little tighter. And that's progress, by the way. It's not one game he figures out, oh, I need to be like 2 feet in front of the guy.
No, that takes it's a habit. It's
not just a habit, it's also execution of the habit. Like, he knows. He's not dumb. He's a bright guy. If you talk to Connor Carrick, he's a bright guy, but it's execution of it at the NHL level.
It's funny when Blake left my radio show and we Jesse and I went in and talked to our boss Paul, who I think is a great coach. He's actually one of the best coaches I've ever had. And that's what he's there to do. He's there to correct things. There was stuff that he said in that first session where I was like, yeah, I need to do that. And it's simple, easy to go. Like, it's the same. It's like, here are your 3 goals. Mm-hmm. Do these 3 things and you'll be successful. And I would come back, and like a month later, I'm still doing some of them. I'm still making some of those mistakes. And I said, I'm so sorry. Like, I really know that I need to do these things. I just haven't been able to get over that. And Paul said, these things take time. They're habits. You got to break the habit. So he said, I totally understand. I'm going to keep pointing them out, but you got to break the habit. Connor Carrick, perfect example of a guy that's inching closer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden what'll happen is he gets close enough to a guy, doesn't give so much respect, and things will start happening defensively, which will lead to offensive things. And we
were scratching the surface with him offensively too.
Yeah.
We're scratching the surface. I really think I don't know about he's going to be a huge offensive producer at the NHL level, but if the AHL was any indication,
he'll be great.
I think he'll be pretty good.
It was interesting. I feel like he's very undervalued even in Toronto. I was reading an article in a newspaper locally here today, and online, because who actually holds a physical newspaper anymore? And and it was saying, like, who the Leafs will protect. Who will they protect? And I was like, okay, what does this particular publication think? And they left it up in the air as though they're like, well, they've got Jake Gardiner and Morgan Riley and Nikita Zaitsev is exempt, so it'll be one of Marchenko, Marincin, and Carrick. I'm like, no, it is Carrick. It's Carrick.
It's the guy they've used almost every single game.
Yes,
not the guy they haven't.
It's Carrick, but and that person is a sports writer,
mm-hmm.
a well-known sports writer. It's not even it's a foregone conclusion that Connor Carrick's going to be
half of what Marincin makes. Less than half, I think.
But that's the point, is that he's so undervalued and his potential is so underrated here. I'm excited to see what he's able to pull off. And
me too.
And I that's what
he's
I mean.
He's a big X factor back there.
For sure.
I think.
For sure. And they've
paired him with Gardner.
They believe in him.
I don't think that's to protect him.
No.
I think that's because they want him to succeed with Gardner.
You're not going to get defensive protection with Gardner.
Well, then there's that.
I love Jake Gardner, but last few games he's given away some real bonehead pucks, and that's the one thing he does wrong.
From shift to shift, I want to kill him and kiss him.
Because he's amazing. He does things along the blue line to keep the puck in that I have never seen before.
When the Leafs were choking against the Islanders, I mean, he really seemed to grab the team by the collar and go, "We are not losing this damn game." And he was like their best player on the ice. And then, of course, it didn't end the way you wanted it to, but he was flying out there. Oh,
what we're seeing from him
so
this year,
frustrating.
though, is more of that and less of what we saw under Randy Carlyle when, Jake Gardner's never going to make it. Never going to be that good. Maybe we should move him to forward.
God, so I'm going to talk about this on the pregame show for the Leafs, but by the time you hear this, it won't matter. It won't be a spoiler. And in my most recent Maple Leafs trade tree, I looked at it, just a classic case of giving up on a prospect way too early. Alex Steen and Carlo Koliakovo. People look at that trade like, oh, okay, it was Steen for Stempniak. Koliakovo was just a throw-in. No, he was not.
He played a lot.
Koliakovo played 284 games for the St. Louis Blues. Don't tell me he was a throw-in. He scored over 25 points as a defender for them, I think 3 straight seasons, including the season he was traded. And it was all because they were like, well, you know what it was? And I don't want to dump on the guy because he's going through some health troubles right now, but the Leafs had just had their first really, truly bad season in a long time. They missed the playoffs by 1 point, but whatever. They had their first truly bad season in 07-08. So that summer, with Cliff Fletcher at the helm, they hire Ron Wilson, and after 20 games, it becomes apparent that Wilson's not going to do much with Alex Steen. He doesn't like Carlo Koliakovo, who is playing on a broken foot, by the way.
Why is he playing on a broken foot?
Because he wants to impress the new coach, I guess.
Just sit him.
Yeah, and it was notorious. I thought you ever remember something and go, wait, am I making this up?
Yes.
Yeah, and I researched it. No, I wasn't making it up. Ron Wilson criticized Koliakovo like, well, if his conditioning was a little better, maybe he wouldn't get injured so much. And Koliakovo heard it. He's like, my foot's broken.
Yeah.
It was broken by a puck. You jerk.
Before we go to break here.
Yep. Yada, yada, yada.
You got to check out the trade tree. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, the Stempniak guy will fix us. No. No.
So anyway, that game seemed to be a part of the learning process where they could potentially go, okay, we can do this. Matthews, 25 goals.
Oh.
He reaches 25 goals. Marner, 46 points, leads the team, leads the rookie scoring.
He's getting me really excited, this guy.
Mm-hmm. And Patrick Laine, fourth line. Fourth line A.
Really?
On the Winnipeg Jets.
Adam. How
Fourth
dare
line
you.
A. Get it? Because it works. Canadian. They actually, no, it was just one game.
Would you trade him for a backup, Andy?
No, but they Patrick Laine, I guess he gave away, he did some bad giveaways and stuff. It's basically,
it's going to happen to
the
rookies.
Jets are saying he's not good defensively, and everybody else is going, well, yeah. But but he has more than 20 goals, so good with the bad. Anyway, 18 years old. Good. Patrick Laine will be fine. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the Atlantic and the Metro divisions. We're just take a little look at the points. Then we're going to go through some trade rumors. Then the Hartford Islanders have reared their ugly head again. We'll talk about that too.
Ooh. I want them to take on the Seattle Coyotes.
When we come back on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. So let's take a look at the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, and specifically the Metropolitan Division, is really the have and have not.
Yes. Yes.
Even though it says, hey, there's a lot of teams that aren't really out of this. Actually, there are a lot of teams that are. A lot of teams that are. I think so. I want to know, first off, I'm going to run through the Atlantic Division. Montreal, first place, as you'd expect, 68 points. Ottawa, second.
68 points?
68 points in 55 games.
No. They have 68 points?
Yeah, Steve, they have 68 points.
Wow, okay. Sorry, I haven't checked it in a while. I thought it was 58.
No, 68.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Points, a lot of points.
Good for them.
Yeah. No.
No.
I'm on NHL.com.
I know what you read.
We know what happens when I go to NHL.com. I read the list of the wrong All-Stars, and this could be from a different... No, I'm serious. This is the real one.
I can't wait for this to be up, and Twitter just goes, "You're wrong, idiots!" Like arrows from 300.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it was the right one. I refreshed. Ottawa, 51 games, 60 points.
Okay.
Toronto in third, 52 games, 60 points.
Okay.
Now, Metropolitan Division. Washington Capitals, 54 games played. That's less than Montreal. 80 points. 80.
What's their goal differential, Adam?
66. Plus 66. Crazy. Columbus, who, by the way, went. How did they win? How many win they win? 14 in a row at one point this year?
15 or 16.
They have played 52 games. They have 73 points.
Wow. Wow, the Caps are 7 points ahead of them?
Yeah, because the Caps in the last 10 games are 8-2-0. Columbus is 5-4-1. Columbus has kind of come back to earth a little bit, and just in the last 10.
Wow.
Pittsburgh is on fire. 7-2-1 in the last 10 games. 52 games played, same as Columbus. They have, hang on, there it is, 72 points. They're 1 point behind.
They have 3 70-plus teams?
They have 3. And not only that,
Okay.
because we got to look at the wild card.
Oh, dear.
We got 2 more teams.
Okay.
Are any of them in the Atlantic? No.
No, eh?
I'm not even going to let you answer that.
Okay.
New York Rangers with 69 points, which, by the way, if you're keeping track, is 1 point more than the first place in the Atlantic Canadians.
It's also a nice number.
It's a very nice number. Philadelphia Flyers, 54 games, 59 points.
Oh, wow.
So there's a drop-off. It's like off of a cliff after that.
So there are 2 spots available in the East.
Yes.
That is third.
Third in the Atlantic.
You could argue second.
Second and third in the Atlantic, and
So let's say 3
second
spots
in the
then.
wild card.
Wow.
That's it. Unless, barring some ridiculous, streak of terrible.
So the numbers to beat right now are 60 and 59.
Yes.
Who do we got? Just underneath.
We got Boston at 58.
Yeah, but they played a bunch of games.
Islander, 55 games. They're not that far ahead, but yeah, 55
Oh, okay. The
games.
gap's closing.
Because they're on their bye week, remember? Islanders, 51 games played, they have 56 points. Florida, 52 games played, 56 points. Now, Florida in their last 10 is 5-3-2. Respectable.
And it's going to get better.
Jersey, 54 games, 56 points. Carolina, 52-55. Buffalo's got 54 points. Detroit's got 54 points. Tampa's got 54 points.
There is not a single damn team out of it. How dare you?
Yeah.
If Detroit,
What I mean is that
you're a hot week away from a playoff
What
spot.
I meant was falling off a cliff from the Metropolitan Division. I didn't mean falling off a
I
cliff
know.
after.
But like any one of like Detroit, Tampa, like
Detroit fans are so upset right now, and they're only 6 points
but
out.
you're 3 wins out of a playoff spot.
5.
Wait.
Oh yeah, because of the wild card. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. You're 6 points out of being top 3 in your division.
It's not a single team in the
Detroit
East is
just
out
does
of
not
it.
lose. Neither does Boston.
It's so frustrating.
Boston is literally like a win away from being right back in there.
Yep. Boop. It's exciting times in the East, man.
It is. Very,
It's
very interesting.
nervous times if you're a Leafs fan, though, because that's why I overreact to little streaks like the Leafs had, because you can't even afford to have a bad week.
And they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. Not great. Not great at all.
No, you can't afford to be 500.
But it's interesting. None of the 3 leading Atlantic teams have been that great in the last 10. Ottawa 5-3-2. Montreal, and this is shocking, 3-5-2.
Berkshire was telling me something like since like American Thanksgiving or something like that, they're below 500. Is that true?
And Jesse, you told me a stat yesterday about regulation wins for them, right?
Yeah. Hold on. I can pull it up.
Pull that up.
So I don't have to guess.
Why do they do this? Okay, the Leafs can't hold on to a lead like in a game. Montreal, every year it's Groundhog Day. The hottest month and a half to 2 months in the NHL.
In their last 23 games played, they have 6 regulation wins. Montreal.
Ooh.
Ooh, wow.
Carey Price, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but
That's
I
from
believe
Stephen Birch.
Carey Price has not posted a month with over 900 save percentage, like a save percentage over 900 since November.
Oh, he is all the way out of the Vezina conversation, by the way. Even if he has like a hot end of the season. And if he does win it, it's a joke.
Dubnik's already got it.
Dubnik, it's
needs to win
100% his, right?
How hilarious is that, by the way, that Devin freaking Dubnik's going to win the Vezina? How crazy is
And
that?
you can't even dump on the Oilers because everyone gave up on him, including, by the way, Montreal. No one remembers that. Exactly. They had him. No one remembers. The Oilers had him. I want to say, I don't even remember all the teams he was on. The Oilers had him. The Habs had him. The Coyotes had him.
Yes, they did.
And they gave him to Minnesota
Didn't
for like
Nashville have him?
nothing.
Yes, they did.
I think it was Edmonton, Nashville, Montreal,
it's
Arizona.
Edmonton, Nashville, Montreal, Arizona, Minnesota.
Wow.
Never played a game for Montreal, actually. Only played for Hamilton.
Yeah.
Wow, he went to Hamilton too.
Yeah.
Jeez, good for him.
So if you live in Hamilton, you could have seen the best goalie in the NHL right now
that is
for like
crazy.
$20.
That's crazy.
Less than that.
Oh yeah.
Just to give you some points in the West, it's a little bit more even. Minnesota 76 points, Chicago 71, Nashville's 60 in the Central.
Wait. The gap is over 10 points between second and third?
Well, yeah, but it sort of is in the East too.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Montreal is Toronto are 8 points apart, right? So it's
Yeah, but that's first and third.
yeah, that's true.
Or no, it's first and second.
First,
too. You're right. I'll shut
the
up.
gap between Minnesota and Nashville, which is not really surprising because Minnesota's had such a great year, is 16 points.
Last 29 games, Minnesota is 24-4-1.
Gross.
That's gross.
That is so gross.
And a little more even in the Pacific Division. San Jose, number 1 at 70 points. Anaheim 66. Edmonton 66. Wildcard teams are St. Louis with 59 and Calgary with 59 and LA nipping at their heels with 58. Next closest teams after that are Winnipeg with 54, Vancouver with 52, and Dallas also in there with 52 points. So there is a bit more of a drop off. And then of course Arizona and Colorado, which is
They're so
we know.
far out. Yeah.
And they know.
Dallas. And who's the other one in there? Dallas and
Vancouver and Winnipeg all are within. Well, Winnipeg's got 54 and Dallas and Vancouver 52.
all I ever hear is how bad the Canucks are. And there they are. There they are. They're a hot week away.
So the difference between number 1 in the NHL and last place in the NHL. Washington, 80 points. Colorado, 32.
And 4 of those points came like this past week.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Did you
Against
ever
Montreal,
think we'd have
by
a
the way.
spread of almost 50 points?
Probably haven't
Like
had that.
all we talked about all year is parity. I don't know, man. There are some have and have nots.
Well, okay,
It would have been like this last year because Washington almost set the record for most points in a season.
That's true. They did.
So who was
And
last
nobody-
week?
you know what's
How are they
funny?
so good?
It's funny. We've talked
And
about
don't have a cup.
Minnesota. We've talked about Columbus. No one's talking about the amazing season Washington is having.
Because it
And
doesn't matter until the playoffs.
Well, and it's
They-
old hat.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise, I guess.
Yeah.
How many President's Trophies? Like, name
Vancouver
the
win?
last 10 President's Trophy winners.
Vancouver
Gives a
Cup
damn.
players.
But I can tell you all of the last 10 Stanley Cup winners. Gives a damn.
Gives a damn.
Gives a damn.
Gives a damn. Anyway, interesting. I just think it's fun to look at those standings. Every once in a while, you look at the standings and you go, really? Really? Is that? It was like, Steve, Ottawa has 60 points? No, they don't. Exact point of order. No, they don't.
Is that actually the case, Adam?
That is actually the case, Steve Dangle. 2 headlines. 2 hours apart from each other. I'm calling Sportsnet.ca out on this one.
Oh,
in
wow.
a cheeky
Oh, wow.
fashion.
How dare you. I
I'm
work for
calling
them.
out Sportsnet.ca.
That is my home.
Where this podcast is definitely posted right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday we get a tweet from Sportsnet's account. Great article. 1 year later, the @Senators are pleased with the Dion Phaneuf trade. Interesting. Great. Not 2 hours later, the Senators may reportedly ask Dion Phaneuf to waive his no-movement clause before the expansion draft. So, you might look at this and go, Senators, talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Oh, totally.
But
The Sens never.
when you get into it and actually read the article, because I played the game and read the articles, because everybody's all about reading the article now. The reason that the Senators want... Yeah, people are like, oh, read the article! And they're right, read the article. The reason that the Senators might ask Dion Phaneuf to do that is Cody Ceci, Mark Mathot, and Erik Karlsson are all people that they want to protect. And the thinking is, with, I think, 5 years at $7 million a year after this,
4 or 5, yeah.
that Vegas probably won't want to go near that contract. And the other thing is Vegas is somewhat analytics-heavy mindset already.
Yeah.
I mean, New, but they're also they've put some money into getting some math in there, right?
Yeah, new thinking, old thinking. They have potential to really do well.
They do.
Maybe not next season, but
Dion,
overall,
Dion's possession numbers are not great this year. But he is
ever.
He's logging between 20 and 25 minutes for the Sens. They want to keep him. My question to you is, if they do go forth with this and say, listen, Dion, the contract is such that we don't think Vegas is going to take you. Would you be open to us doing this? Would you be open to waiving it? Because it's in Dion's court. Mm-hmm. Now, he can do one of two things here, right? He can say, well, no, I'm not. Mm-hmm. Or he can say, sure, yeah. Do you as a player take offense to that? Or do you see it as, it's a team sport, and I'm going to be a good teammate, and we're going to try this, and if we get claimed, we get claimed. But, at the end of the day, I want to strengthen my team. My team will be less good if I don't waive this. Because if they, I don't know who they'd expose. I would think it'd be Mark Mathot of Cody Ceci, Erik Karlsson, and Mark Mathot. I would think, because Cody Ceci's really young.
I would assume that too.
Losing Mark Mathot's not good for the Sens. They want to keep him.
Looking at his salary and his age, he's kind of expendable. He's $4.9 million till 2019
Mathot?
at 31. Yeah, at 31.
That's a very expensive
How many points
contract.
does he have this season? Jesse's on it. Jesse.
He has 8 assists.
That's it?
And I stopped there because that's it.
Oh.
Well,
okie doke.
I'd like to look at the rest of his numbers.
Hey, here's one. Why not expose both, potentially?
Yeah.
Because who else do the Sens have back there? Maybe they want to save. Maybe they want to do the 8-2 route. All right, let's take a look at their cap friendly. Phaneuf makes the most money, $7 million. Well, okay, cap it. The actual money doesn't matter. Well, it does for Ottawa a little bit, but cap it. Phaneuf makes $7 million. Karlsson 6.5. You're protecting him. Mark Mathot 4.9. Maybe not. Cody Ceci, you're protecting him $2.8 million this season and next.
And he's got a pretty good future ahead of him, I would think.
Yeah. And then you got 27-year-old Mark Borowiecki, 1.1. 27-year-old Chris Weidman, $800,000 this year and next.
UFC fighter?
Yes. Yes. And Frederick Clayson. I've never heard of him. He's $700,000, and then he's a restricted free agent this year at 24 years old. So I kind of look at that and I go, I want to protect Erik Karlsson and Cody Ceci, and I don't really care after that. And then I look up front. Now, keep in mind, I don't know how many of these guys are, I almost said immune. Mm-hmm. What am I looking at? Protected.
Yes.
You got Bobby Ryan, who's got
You have to.
You got a no-move clause. Mike Hoffman. Yeah, you want to protect him. Brassard. MacArthur's a rough one. He's got 3 years left at 4.65, but he's working to come back. Mark Stone, Kyle Turris, Zach Smith, who you have signed for forever. His extension kicks in next year. And then they got a bunch of free agents. Tommy Wingles, who they just got. Chris Neal, I mean, if he goes, he goes. Peugeot, probably want to hold on to. Curtis Lazar, having a bit of a rough season, but Ryan Dzingel. It's interesting. I wonder if they want to go the 8-2 route.
Huh. If I were them, I would, but it sounds like they don't. It sounds like they want Mathot.
I'm not sure. Well, because does Mathot have a no move though?
Oh.
It says MNTC, which I assume, modified no trade clause.
So
does that include the expansion draft?
We don't.
If I was the Sens, I might go the 8-2 route.
If you can.
And okay, here you got to look at it from Phaneuf's perspective. Okay, there's a couple ways you could look at this. One, what do I even have this damn no trade clause for? I already got traded, and you're gonna essentially trade me again. Like I signed this thing, I left money on the table, and all of a sudden my life has been uprooted twice in 2 years. Thanks. Like what a useless clause. On the other hand,
I'm Dion Phaneuf and I'm making $7 million a year.
I'm Dion Phaneuf.
And I can go to Vegas.
I'm Phaneuf. I make $7 million a year. Vegas sounds pretty rad. And where does Alicia Cuthbert record her show?
Does she have
Doesn't she have a show?
I don't think
She was on a show.
I don't know if she
There
does
was
right now.
No, she was like pregnant. Her character was pregnant. I don't know. I saw the previews. I've never actually seen the show.
I don't know what she's on right now.
But she's a big actress.
Yeah.
Right? Vegas, not that far from LA.
Yeah.
Plus, I assume they'll be in LA's division. You'll be in the LA area a whole lot. Playing the Ducks, playing the Kings. Sharks are just a little skip away.
She's currently on The Ranch.
The Ranch.
I don't think that plays in here up here in Canada.
Look, where's it recorded?
It's on Netflix.
Oh.
That's the awful show with Ashton Kutcher. I hate The Ranch.
There's a show with Ashton Kutcher.
There's a show
on
with
Netflix?
There's a show on Netflix.
I had no idea.
Called The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher.
Google
and it
it.
might be.
If Netflix isn't even promoting it,
Wow.
that's how
It
you know it's
might
not good.
be the worst Netflix original series ever.
Google where it's shot.
There's a Netflix show with Ashton Kutcher?
I had no idea. That used to be an A-list celebrity.
Yeah.
He used to be on absolutely everything. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll replace Charlie Sheen. Who told him that was good?
Well, I think that was part of what happened when you do 6 or 7 bad movies in a row. Like really,
Oh, like Dane Cook with a little bit more leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ranch is filmed in Burbank, California.
There you go.
I am just saying, if I'm Dion Phaneuf, I go, well, okay. I'll either be near her hometown if I stay with the Sens, and we've probably already done some little things with our life. We've been here a year, and I get to stay that way, and that'll be fine. Or I get claimed by Vegas, and that's not so bad either.
And there's like no income tax, and it's super cheap to live there. Like Vegas, buying a house in Vegas is, man.
If he's
Look up
annoyed,
real estate in Vegas. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
so if he's annoyed by the fact that, his life's going to be uprooted twice, I 100% understand that, and he's not wrong. But there's I'm failing to see, as an outsider, the downside to him waiving his no trade clause. I'm failing to see it.
Also, ice time on a team that's not going to have that many great players.
Oh
They're
my
going to
God.
Play the hell out of
You'll
Dion.
probably be their captain.
Yeah, probably.
You'll almost for sure be the only person on that team with any experience as a captain in the National Hockey League.
So if you're Dion, you don't take that personally.
No. And if you're Vegas, I think you take a look. Why not?
I don't know why not. I don't see why not. I mean, I really don't. I
Might be their best player.
And you do. Apparently, he's been a great. According
Might
to
be
the
their
first
best
article from
defenseman.
Sportsnet, they said he's been a really great influence on the players in the dressing room.
Yeah. And if you're the Sens, you didn't make that deal to be married to Dion Phaneuf. You made that deal to give yourself some temporary cap relief.
And to get a guy who you know will stick around,
Could.
right? I think part of the reason why the Senators made that deal was because they can't go out and get free agents in the same way that Toronto can.
100%.
And I think it was like, okay, well, we at least know with this guy, we can put him on the ice for 20 minutes a night. Is he the best guy at 20 minutes a night? No, but we can put him on the ice for 20 minutes a night, and he'll be here.
And if we get rid of him, we have to give Erik Karlsson more minutes. Oh, no! I'm failing to see the downside for either party here.
And at the
I don't see
very
it.
worst, he doesn't get claimed.
Yeah.
Returns to
That's
training
not
camp.
even the worst. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Because, I mean, really, that's bad for Ottawa because then they got to replace his minutes. And that's tough. Tough to do.
There are worse things you could replace.
I get that, but I'm just saying, it's like, for Ottawa, it's just not as easy for them to get players.
I think it's a smart move.
All
It's
right.
a smart move.
Well,
Smart move. You're exposing an asset that is unlikely to be taken from you. And even if he is, it's still worth it to protect those 8 other guys up front. Give more minutes to your all-world defenseman. I'm not seeing the problem here.
So, in conclusion, both of Sportsnet's tweets were correct.
yes.
Ottawa was happy with the trade, and they kind of wanted.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not seeing the problem here.
and that's why I quote I hashtag read the article
Yep.
because I was like,
Important.
there has to be context here.
Yep.
They know what's going. So it was I just thought that was very, very interesting that those two tweets lined up and they both sort of make sense and very interesting. Steve, good breakdown like that.
We came
Vegas.
full circle.
Yeah,
I made up for the first segment.
I think we sold. I think we just Pierre Dorian can just show Dion Phaneuf this segment. and doesn't have to make a pitch. Just says, hey, listen to the second half of the Steve Dangle podcast on the radio portion.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Super underrated part of, I think, so many transactions in the NHL is family. Also, like, they don't have a kid together. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know them, but maybe they're starting to talk about it. They've been together a long time. They're like, how old is he? 30? Yeah, they're married.
Okay.
Dion's 31.
31.
She's 34.
And at some point, he's probably going to, got to say, okay, past June, when we have this stupid thing, I'm done with moves. I'm done with moving here. I want to stick to
Stay
one
in
place. Stay in Vegas.
Have a house in Vegas, have a house in LA, you're good.
Yeah, what a bummer. What a bummer.
Tough life.
Yeah.
It's a tough gig.
Mm-hmm. Dude, live in a hotel during the season, like, be
why
in
not?
LA half the time.
You can
I'm not seeing the problem here. I think that either is a great situation for him, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good for Dion Phaneuf.
With that, we are going to leave you on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. In the download section of this podcast, we're going to go through the Canadian teams and what kind of makes sense for each team going into the trade deadline, because believe it or not, we're real close. We're within 2 weeks, and it's going to get very, very exciting. Not totally within 2 weeks, but I'm like 2.5-ish. Because it's 28th. Right now, it's the...
It's the first, isn't it?
It's the first.
It's March 1st.
What was
March
that
1st.
thing you were confused about? If it was the 28th or the 1st?
I was confused about whether or not it was the February 28th or March 1st, but it's all the way March 1st. And Sportsnet just started all their commercials, and it says March 1st, unless their commercials were wrong and they spent a lot of money on something that was wrong, which they haven't.
We also have information on a new NHL team, a potential move, and what baseball's doing. Baseball is going to do a shootout version of what the NHL has done.
Beba is so Beba.
Beba is the most Beba, and this is actually really surprising for such a conservative game that they'd consider this. But we'll talk about it in the download section, which you get at sportsnet.ca. It's brought to you by Panago Pizza. It's what's on the inside that counts. Thanks so much for listening. So, I love this.
That Mirage isn't a burger, Jesse?
Pringles, Dad.
Steve was looking at my Tim Hortons cup and he was like, "Oh, I thought those were Pringles." I was like, "Give me some Pringles, man."
I thought he had a can of Pringles. It's similarly colored. There's red, there's yellow. It's circular.
And Steve's upset now because he lost his roll up the rim as well.
And he's also not eating Pringles.
Yeah.
So.
It's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Double whammy.
I'm just saying, and I recently heard the Bo Burnham song where he's talking about how Pringle cans are not wide enough for your hand.
He's right.
He's right.
What was the...
Good for you, Bo
You're not
Burnham.
supposed to eat them with your hand. You pour them in your mouth. You tilt the can and you just shove them all down your
Is that
gullet.
supposed to go?
Yeah, but some of us are friggin' civilized fancy men.
I didn't think I was
and we
supposed
can't
to eat
get crumbs
the
on our
Pringles.
gold suits.
I didn't think I was supposed to eat the Pringles. I thought I was supposed to...
Yeah.
On the lid.
I thought I was supposed to decorate myself with them.
And then I thought I was supposed to put them in my mouth and pretend to make out with my girlfriend with Pringles. I thought that's what the commercial tells me.
Yeah, and
you mean
now-
I'm supposed to eat these stupid things? What?
And now I'm at an age where I can't even do the thing where I shove my fist in the entire can and pretend it's my arm and start punching my friends at recess.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Especially
and
the mini
dangerous.
ones. Remember you used to have like the mini ones and you could go like...
Oh
the
my
mini
God.
Pringles cans?
Well,
The fists in them?
Sorry, mini Pringles cans. I thought you meant aluminum boxing gloves. Because that's how we use them. Because
times.
kids are stupid.
Good times. So Sportsnet did a trade feature yesterday. It featured Jeff Merrick and Chris Johnson and Elliot Freeman
And Steve
and Doug
Dangle.
McLean. What's that?
And Steve Dangle.
No Steve Dangle.
No Steve Dangle. What was so funny is like, okay, we're going to go through all the Canadian teams. And they didn't talk about Edmonton. So
Oh, no.
so I watched
that
the
went
video,
over well.
I'm like, wait a second, where's Edmonton?
That went over well, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then they made an article about it and left Edmonton out of the article, too.
Oh, no.
I'm sure Edmonton loved that. And of course, listen,
That's always interesting because that
sorta
can't
get-
just be a mistake. There must. I wonder if
Did they
there's
run
a
out
reason.
of time in the segment? And then,
yes, because the segment was already 4.5 minutes. They spent 2.5 minutes on Mark Bergevin,
Okay, so.
right?
Maybe Edmonton's working on something big.
Maybe. So now I sort of understand why Albertans hate everything that has to do with the Leafs. I don't understand why they don't hate on the Canadians more because they took most of the segment. Okay? Okay?
Okay. Well, they've been in so many rumors too.
They have. But we're going to start with Edmonton. Let's
Okay.
start with Edmonton. And then I'll go through what they said about the rest of the teams. What makes sense for them? Do they make a deal? Do they care? Or is it like, all right, how about we just get to their playoffs?
Yeah, I really think they're in a similar position to the Leafs, where you've done things well. That's why you're here.
They made their moves in the offseason.
Yeah, leave it be, man. Leave it be.
Okay.
But we're not perfect. No, I got news for you. You're not going to be. Relax.
Winnipeg, goaltending.
Oh, yeah?
Elliot Friedman said, I would love to see them take a chance on Ben Bishop. They don't have to keep him.
I love Friedge because when he injects his opinion, it's almost always what would excite him as a fan of the sport. And he puts on a smile and he goes, you know what I would love to see them do? And I'm like, I'm with you, Friedge. Yeah, that's exciting. I don't know if that's going to happen, man.
Well, here's where it doesn't make sense. The trade makes sense, but Tampa Bay is last in the Eastern Conference. However, they're not out of it. As we said, they're about 3 wins and they're in the playoffs.
When does Stamkos come back?
Good point. Not that Ben Bishop's played particularly well, but he has been hurt. Winnipeg. Winnipeg's not in the East anymore. Never mind. Winnipeg, though, if you're trading a guy to Winnipeg, that means that you've got one guy who also hasn't played the greatest. The whole team hasn't played the greatest. So, you run the risk of, okay, we're going to put all our eggs in one basket, and we're not even sure that our goalie now is going to get hot and lead us back, even when Stamkos comes back. You know what I mean?
That's a tough risk.
Tough risk. Kind of a risk for Tampa.
And now we're starting to see, like, how weird is it that there might not actually be a market for Ben Bishop? Like, not just because he hasn't been great, but because it doesn't make sense for, like, the teams that need him, it doesn't make sense for them to acquire him.
Right.
The only true fit I see, I think, is St. Louis.
Well, St. Louis, it's crazy, eh? St. Louis fires their head coach and they got 59 points. Like, they're in the first wild card spot. And they fired their head coach.
Yeah, why did the Gerard Gallant one get so much heat? And the Hitchcock one...
Julian and Hitchcock, nothing.
Julian is even getting more
Play
pushback than Hitchcock.
Is it that St. Louis is in St. Louis and Boston's closer? And Gerard Gallant was weird?
But Hitchcock's been around for so long. No, you know what? There's no picture. There's no picture of him with his luggage.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's true.
People rally behind images and symbols.
Good point.
The Florida one had one. And it also happened at kind of a weird point in the season, and there wasn't all that much to talk about yet. And everyone decided, all right, we finally found our first thing we're going to get mad at this year. And that was it. And then Hitchcock gets fired, and they're like, well, we already used our mad about the coach firing. And then Julian happened. The Boston writers got mad. That's about it.
Here's what if I'm Winnipeg, I'm gonna disagree with Elliot. If I'm Winnipeg, I need to make a goaltending move for the future. I've already played 56 games. My team is 25, 27, and 4. And yes, we're not out of it, but with a minus 13 goal differential,
and for a team that has really done well offensively,
you clearly need a goalie. But if you go out and you waste resources on Ben Bishop, and then you're not able to re-sign him,
here it comes. I hope you're all ready for what Adam's going to say. Here it comes.
That will suck.
Yes. Oh, that's all?
That's it. What else was I going to say? You go out.
So as a result, they should acquire Marc-Andre Fleury.
Well, yes, they should. That's St.
what I
Louis
thought you were going to say. No, St. Louis shouldn't. St. Louis should, because they've already made this huge commitment to Jake Allen.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. You're right. St. Louis makes more sense for Ben Bishop. I would say Winnipeg for Marc-Andre Fleury makes more sense. If you can do it. If you can pull it off.
I think this gets said every year. Is this going to be one of the strangest trade deadlines we see?
Yes. I'm unsure if anything will happen. Ever. Mm-hmm. Like at all.
There are so many funky...
There is a waiver claim that we have to break. Like,
I know.
What's going to happen
There's so many funky situations, and the Phaneuf thing, and then there was a report he might get traded before the deadline.
Phaneuf?
Oh, yeah. And, you know, what are teams' goalie situations, people coming back from injury, stuff about the expansion draft. I think there are going to be a lot of moves. I think it's going to be volume. It's going to be volume. Maybe not huge quantity moves.
You think there will be? Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Moving on past Winnipeg to the Flames, who are apparently looking for a number 4 defenseman, which is shocking to me because you would have. Yeah, and I also thought that the defense was kind of Calgary's strength. They're loaded with talent back there.
They're loaded with money back there.
Yes, Dennis Weidman's contract is expiring now, I believe. So they're apparently looking. Maybe a goalie. That's what they said, maybe a goalie.
I wouldn't. Boy, how much do they regret the Brian Elliott trade if they're looking at a goalie right now? And Chad Johnson's playing the way he is. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Ottawa apparently just looking for Craig Anderson to get back to playing shape, being ready to play. And that's
And then you'll have Anderson Condon.
Yeah.
Which is all of a sudden like a ridiculous tandem.
It's pretty good.
That's a really good tandem.
Vancouver. I say sellers with a question mark because we're still not sure.
Sellers?
They could be going after Matt Duchene. Who the hell knows, right?
We're on the online portion now, so parents. But I saw a tweet. I think it was from Pet Bugs. Or no, I don't remember who it was from. It was from a Canucks fan. And he just goes, God, I do not have faith that betting will not fuck this trade deadline up.
Here are the two players, apparently. Alex Burrows. Montreal really likes Alex Burrows.
We got to go back to Vancouver. No, sorry. We're still on Vancouver. Montreal really likes Alex Burrows. I'm not sure Alex Burrows really, truly helps you get to the playoffs. He's more of a complementary player to a team that is already strong, a la Montreal.
Right.
But Vancouver, what was the number one thing we talked about coming into the season? They feel like they have to make the playoffs. If they're within striking distance, which they very are, I think they're going to buy. I do.
Ryan Miller, also an expiring contract. Who needs goaltending? Winnipeg. But they'd never trade to Winnipeg because they're in the West. I mean, there are other teams that need goaltending. I'm not saying it's just... Can you imagine Ryan Miller back in St. Louis?
No, they would never.
They wouldn't. But maybe.
Because
I could see them... I could see them potentially trading Ryan Miller. I could see that.
If they truly feel they have to make the playoffs, they're gonna try.
All right.
Oh, by the way, Jesse, can you quickly Hockey DB Jake Virtanen? By the way, because at last update, which was a while ago, at last update, that's a big
What would you like to know?
What are his AHL statistics this year?
Really good. He's got 5 goals, 4 assists, and 24 penalty minutes.
In how many games?
34.
Jake Virtanen?
What happened?
I don't know, man.
I mean, they're not a great team, are they? Utica?
Well, here, go look at what his teammates have scored. He has 9 points.
Ooh.
Utica's leading goal scorer has 15 points.
Ooh.
The leading point getter has 35.
Oh,
What's their record?
I don't know.
how's Thatcher Demko, the goalie?
Thatcher Demko. He has a 901 save percentage.
Again, it's
that
just
might be good on a bad team.
bad team. Oh boy. Jesus Lord.
Do we have the record?
Oh, they are.
I want to know what the record is.
Oh,
This
that's
is
bad.
important.
And I think they recently lost
HL
Jordan
standings.
Subban. I feel like he was called up for a bit.
He was.
He was like one of their only good things. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not good.
They are 18, 19, and 6th, 44 points, 5th in the North Division.
That could be worse.
It could. I was expecting it to be worse. That's not that bad.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Very, very small note. Marlies fans, I haven't been talking about, Leafs fans, I haven't been talking about the Marlies nearly as much recently because a few of their biggest guns have been hurt. But if you want to make yourself feel better, go look at how Kirby Reichel's been doing.
Well, and haven't they climbed back into a playoff spot?
I haven't been paying that close.
I think they were.
The Marlies?
Yeah, I think they climbed back into and they beat Utica twice last week, I believe. Which is good.
Anything
They
going on?
are 4th in the North Division, so that's out of a playoff spot.
It is out.
correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
Not 100%.
Close-ish, though. Montreal, looking to make the biggest splash at the deadline. They not only will make the biggest splash in theory in Canada, but also in the biggest splash, just period. We've obviously heard them hooked into Matt Duchene. Can you believe this? For Martin Hanzal.
Okay.
What do you think the asking price for Martin Hanzal is?
A first.
A first. That's what I would have said. First or
What is a
prospect in the
fair
second.
ask? Like a couple thirds.
The Arizona Coyotes want Michael McCarron, a first and a prospect. And Montreal's apparently considering it because
You got to get more than Hansel.
Marc Bergevin has maybe
You
maybe
can
they
get
get something
Duchesne
back
for that price.
What's that?
You can get Duchesne. For
Well,
that price.
Duchesne, you need like a young defenseman. They said a young defenseman that's already playing in the NHL. A young defenseman with like a high. You expect big things from them. A first and a high end prospect.
Oh my God! So can you say
So
that
basically,
again? A first Michael
the Colorado
McCarron and
Avalanche want you to win the Stanley Cup for them eventually with a Matt Duchesne purchase.
which is great because then you can throw in a conditional pick that is, if you win the Stanley Cup, we get something else as well.
Yeah.
And every team says yes to that because they don't care. Because if they won the Stanley Cup, great.
Yeah. So Hansel, that's a big ask. That's a big ask.
You know who's been in trade rumors for the Coyotes, and I wonder if he's thrown in there with Hansel? Anthony Duclair. You can't pay that and only get Martin Hansel. Come on.
I think so too. I'm
You
with
can
you.
have a free Shane Doan.
No, I don't. I think they're asking big for Shane Doan as well.
Really?
I don't blame them for asking big. I don't blame them for
If
asking
you
big.
gave them all three of Duclair, Doan, and Hansel, is a first McCarron and
A prospect. They didn't say
I
what type
don't
of
know,
prospect.
man.
I don't know, man. I don't know either. It is interesting.
Oof. And John Chayka supposedly has been at a lot of Blackhawks games recently.
Of course. Of course he has.
Because we
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So if that's what they're asking for Hansel, Duchesne's price is going to be too high. But Marc Bergevin has said, if I'm in, I'm in. So if we're going to win, I'm in. And apparently he feels like they got a shot at this.
well, we know
And they
he's
do.
not afraid to make a move.
No, he's not. So interesting.
Man, he went all in several times this summer.
They have to. When you think about it, Shea Weber will probably never be better than he is in this window, right? Like now, maybe next year, maybe the year after, and that's it.
The criticism of the Weber deal wasn't he's bad. It's he will never be better than he currently is.
Yeah, and you've got him for so
He
many
had
more
such
years.
a hot start, and he's on down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's in the Norris conversation as much anymore.
That
People
was
were like,
so
he's a runaway
silly.
Norris
Get out.
runaway
If
Norris
Brent
winner.
Burns doesn't win the Norris, there's something wrong with the world.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
for sure.
yeah. If Brent Burns doesn't win the Norris, I'm never watching the NHL awards ever again.
He might win the Hart.
Yeah,
Should probably. And Toronto, according to Friedman, he said, I think they'll do nothing unless it fits the long-term plan. CJ said I could see, like Chris Johnson said, I could see a fourth line center.
Great, good.
Good. I got to say,
That's it.
Ben Smith has driven me nuts the last few games.
I was really rooting for him.
Me too. And every time he was out there, and I think he was 40% in the last game, or was it against the Islanders?
Oh, possession.
40% face-off wins. That's the one thing Ben Smith does.
Yeah, if you're Ben Smith, you have to win faceoffs. What was his injury?
I don't remember.
I don't
But it might
remember
affect
either.
it. Maybe it's like a wrist or something. I don't remember.
Could be. And here's the thing: like he was struggling before the injury, but I'm like, all right, okay, I can see it. Now he's Ben Smith coming back from injury. That's hard.
Well,
Would they
and
be
Babcock
better off
puts
with
him
Freddie
out there-
Gauthier?
No. I don't think you're good with either.
No, but better off.
Maybe better off. Gauthier doesn't win face-offs though.
He does. Not as much as you would want someone taxed with that.
I just
role to do.
every single time that line is out there, and I think they really do need a fourth line center because, and with no offense to Matt Martin, the only person who could carry possession on that line is Soshnikov.
Is Sosh.
And you got to have, if you're going to have a player like Matt Martin in the lineup, then the other two players playing with him better be able to handle the puck.
Well, and what's funny is we've compared Matt Martin to Rich Clune so many times, but for a while the Leafs fourth line was essentially the Marlies fourth line last season. It was Sosh, Gauthier, and instead of Clune they had Martin. But I don't know how effective it's working out.
I don't think it's being effective at all. Every defensive zone big face-off win that Ben Smith was in, against Dallas, he was losing.
But
and
now-
these are important face-offs.
Yeah, but now if you're the Leafs though, you go, okay, it's a miracle we're in the playoffs this year. No one expected us to be here. And even if it only costs a fourth, we're going to trade a fourth for immediate fourth line center help?
Right. That doesn't make a lot of sense. No.
No. Why not just make it? I mean, if you're good enough to make it with what you got, you're good enough to potentially win a round.
Yeah.
Go for it, I say. And by go for it, I mean as you are.
Right.
Go for it as you are, not by trading a third or a fourth for someone who, if they cost a third or a fourth, can't be that good.
No.
Like, how much of an improvement are you actually expecting?
You can get Martin Hansel for a couple thirds. No, what? Okay, what is the?
You can get Michael McCarron, apparently.
Yeah, really. Yeah. What is our center depth beyond Gauthier?
It's rough. So obviously they got Ben Smith on the fourth line right now. Then it is I guess Freddie Gauthier.
Byron
Fraze, who is a great goal scorer at the AHL level. They are not going to give him that responsibility in the NHL. And then beyond them, unless you call it Brooks Lake, which you're not, you got...
What if Brooks Lake helps you?
I wonder if
what
they
if
look
Colin
at
Greening
it.
helps you?
I wonder if they look at it.
I mean, why not? You know that nobody's going to claim them. Like, if you have to send them back down, nobody's claiming them.
And if they do, it's not a huge loss.
No, it's not at all. You haven't used them. I didn't think Colin Greening was all that bad last year. It was a bad team, but I didn't think he was that bad. I also didn't think Byron Fraze was that bad.
But beyond them, let's assume Greening and Lake are off the table, right? You got Gauthier, Fraze. That's it.
Can Griffith play center?
Maybe. I don't think so.
But you don't want to bring him up because then you could lose him again to waivers.
Yeah. Now, how does it work at the end of the season? It's been so long since we've even had to know this information as Leafs fans. Because there is that time where you get to call up all your black aces and you get to just stack your lineup. You're carrying like 50 guys or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know when that is. It's been so long, who knows?
When are you allowed? Like, is there ever a period where you're allowed to call up someone without the risk of losing them? Surely Seth Griffith doesn't have to clear waivers while the Leafs are in the playoffs.
Probably not. No, that probably is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know if he plays center. I'm not aware. But beyond that, like it's a rough go right now. Even in junior, the only guy I can think of is Adam Brooks, and I don't know if he always.
I don't think
plays
you bring
center.
up Adam Brooks.
No. This is what I'm saying. Like, its center is not just a concern this season. It's like a long-term
thing.
One thing you could do is make William Nylander play center. It's not a strong option.
I don't love that.
And is Marner a future center?
God, he runs his line, runs the power play.
Yeah. I'd like to see what he can do on a faceoff.
I've never seen him take one.
If your future centers are Kadri, Matthews, Marner, and then whoever the hell you want on fourth.
But why make Marner a center when he drives play from the wing anyway? Like, I understand what you're saying, but I would make the same argument with Nylander. Like, you need those guys up there. To me, especially in a third, especially because they don't need a third line center right now. They've got that. They need a fourth line guy. So what if Ben Smith isn't doing it and Frederick Gauthier to me is just not fast enough? Why not try Byron Fraze? Can he hang on to the puck? Are his possession numbers positive? Why not Brooks Lake? Can he win a faceoff? Can Brooks Lake win faceoffs?
I don't remember.
Can Colin Greening?
I don't remember.
Here's what I know about Colin Greening. He could skate, and you could use him. You could use him penalty killing.
See, I don't think Babcock used him at center, though. He was center in the AHL. NHL is a different beast. Leafs got... I don't know, man.
I'm with you. I would try to solve it internally. I would definitely try to solve that internally. But why not Brooks Lake? Why not?
You need to make sure that whoever you get, if you do get someone, is a significant upgrade on all three of Ben Smith, Freddie Gauthier, and Byron Fraze. I don't think you can do that cheaply.
I don't think so either.
I don't think you can do it. Here's what I'm trying to look up here. Okay, Austin Matthews is playing 17:43 per game.
Minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Ben Smith is playing 11:43. At what point do you go, Matthews is now playing, okay, instead of just shy of 18 minutes, he's playing just shy of 19.
I think you got to stop taking so many penalties.
Well, there's that. Oh my goodness. Kadri is only averaging 16 minutes and 32 seconds.
So I'd
a
up
game.
those minutes.
Where's Bozak?
You sent that article where it was like the Matthews line is the true first line. So these numbers make sense.
Yeah.
That he's playing the most minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, based on the numbers, yeah.
is the
Matthews,
true first
1743. Kadri, who I lost. There he is. 1632. And then Bozak, almost identical, 1623.
So Babcock's using those three centers pretty much
evenly.
evenly.
Your fourth line center could just be giving like literally another 45 seconds or a minute per game to those three. Why not? Why not? And all three, I trust all three of those lines.
Me too. I get scared though because every time they put out that fourth line, every team reads it. And you can see it each and every time with Dallas. Every time I saw Ben Smith on the ice, Tyler Seguin was too.
Yeah. I mean, the solution here seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? Nylander's only playing 15.59 a game.
Now, is the reason they're doing that because they know this is a tough month, right? They know this is the end of the season. Like, they're playing every other night.
Yeah.
So are they going, okay, let's use everybody. This isn't the playoffs. Let's develop and let's use everybody at about the same pace here so we don't kill anyone. I wonder if that's the case too, right? Why their numbers are so similar. Let's rotate these lines. We got three great lines here. Let's keep rotating them. And let's make sure that nobody gets exhausted.
We're talking in circles here. I think don't make the move. Don't make the move. It seems obvious not to make the move.
Try to solve it internally.
Yeah.
You have Brooks who's been to the playoffs. You have Colin Greening who's been to the playoffs. And you've got Byron Frais, who at least can skate with a puck.
Yeah, this season, it's like as much as you got to like shove your fist in your mouth, like just, it is what it is. And if you got the shot, you always want to make the playoffs, but are you going to do it at the expense of potentially giving up a pick or a prospect? Or here's how it may make sense. Here's the only move that may make sense. If you give up a prospect who you know you're not going to use long term, which we talked about. They have a lot up front. Not so much right now because a lot of guys are hurt. Kapanen, I think Leipzig.
Part of the reason when the Marlies aren't so good is all their best players are injured.
Yeah. So, like, do you look at the name I keep thinking of is like Tobias Lindbergh? Maybe. Maybe, but other than that, I don't see a reason.
The other thing, too, here's where a deal would make sense to me. Long-term plan.
Remember when I said I don't talk about the Marlies as much?
Long-term plan.
Ruined it.
If you can find a guy that's going to be your third-line guy when Bozak goes, unless you plan on re-signing Bozak.
There you go.
If you can make a deal for a guy like that, who I don't know who that is, I have no idea who you'd go for. If you can make that deal, that might make sense.
And then now you're looking at decisions that affect your expansion draft planning.
Which is why they won't make that deal. They're not making that deal. That you just killed it. There it is. And I'm glad you did. You're absolutely right. They don't make that deal, so forget it.
Yeah.
And you know what? What the heck? They could extend Bozak after next season.
Sure. Well, barring a fleecing, I can't see a deal that makes sense here. Barring a fleecing.
Montreal gives us Michael McCarron.
Yeah, for a fourth. Dude.
A conditional Polak.
You know how happy Babcock would be?
Oh, it'd be great.
A highly touted, big right-handed center. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how excited.
Oh, my God.
You guys can't be talking like this around me near Valentine's Day. Gets me too excited.
So, trade deadline.
Yes.
Trade deadline for the Phoenix Coyotes. That's right. I said Phoenix.
How dare you?
Because they could be. Their trade deadline is the mayor of Phoenix, who has said, hey, listen, if they can't make this work in Glendale, which apparently they can't, even though Glendale is saying, whoa, wait a second, we didn't say we wanted them to leave. We didn't say ASU felt the ASU deal fell through. From what I am understanding, Arizona or Phoenix's mayor said, well, we'd like to have them back in Phoenix, and we'd like to put them downtown where the Suns play.
Great.
But apparently there's some sort of political climate there that's not going to allow for that to happen, maybe. But
They can't.
you can't. And if they want to build an arena, it'll be in the middle of like a cotton field somewhere. Like it's going to be far out of town.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he's like,
Like in
no, we
Ottawa.
don't. Yeah, we don't need another arena in the Phoenix
have
area.
an arena.
Put it in Phoenix. Put it where the Suns play. Done. And I bet all the Coyotes fans are like, yes.
Yeah, we get it.
We know. And make sure the piping is made of metal, not plastic.
Oh my God.
But what we do know is that Coyotes officials apparently toured both Portland and Seattle arenas.
Now, on one hand, yeah, it'd be nice to see those markets get an NHL team. On the other, like, aren't we just starting to see some momentum, like with hockey there?
In Arizona? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're adding another team to the desert. One of the hottest young players in the league on the biggest team in the league is
He's a
from
god.
there. He's a god. And he's a hero to the kids. Yeah. You saw it.
He appeared in a mirage out of the desert.
He did, like a burger,
Did
according
you
to Jesse.
see at that at the PGA Tour event that happened a couple weeks ago? They're passing out Matthews jerseys.
Oh,
Yes,
I didn't
to
see
the-
that.
To
in
the
Arizona.
fans in the stands. Yeah, in Arizona.
You're just
Leafs jerseys.
Leafs jerseys.
Not Arizona.
Yeah, well,
He's a huge star there.
you're just finally starting to see the fruits of your investments. Why would you leave that? What are you doing?
And also, you got a pretty smart GM. I like what Shake has done.
Also, the CEO denied that they visited Seattle.
How do these rumors start?
He says recent reports by the Glendale Star that the Coyotes ownership group has explored arena options outside the Arizona market are completely false.
Now,
LeBlanc stated, CEO of the Coyotes. The Star referenced an anonymous arena source and an anonymous Coyote source, and these are a fabrication. End quote.
That doesn't mean anything, by the way.
Yeah. Exactly.
What does he have to lose by outright lying to you?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he is,
But
what does he have to lose? You have to look at what if he is lying to you and they do move, what does he lose?
How
So that's what I mean.
And if he's telling the truth, then cool.
everyday misunderstandings are like, you said you would take the recycling out. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I remember. How does it escalate to you were in a state several states away? No, I wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like sometimes there's a tiny bit of difference between a lie and the truth, or just forgetting the truth, and a flight. That's a pretty big gap between the truth and a lie.
Yeah.
So what is it?
So what is it?
Do we believe him?
I don't know, because again, the gap is pretty big.
I think the truth is always somewhere in the middle. I'm sure a phone call was made.
What state is in the middle?
California.
Oh, you think? Oh, so they've had conversations.
I'm sure there's been a conversation or two.
Yeah.
If you're
But
not,
he didn't actually
if you're
tour
the
the
CEO
thing.
and you haven't had that conversation, you're not doing your job. You have to. That's his job.
Yeah.
Is what's the health of the franchise?
They're trying to get a basketball team back in Seattle, and an NHL team would help.
Yep, it sure would. And they're not going to start building the arena in Seattle until they get either one of
They
an
need a
NHL or
tenant.
Get an
NBA.
expansion team.
They do.
Get an expansion team.
The Seattle Golden Knights to go along with the Quebec Golden Knights and the Portland Golden Knights. Everybody's a Golden Knight.
I want to
The
see
CFL.
the Rough Riders. Oh, the Seattle Rough Riders. I want
Against
it.
the Portland Rough Riders.
I was thinking the Seattle Dragons take on the Golden Knights.
You could slay the dragon.
Oh, you Knights and Dragons. Oh, it looks like the Dragons won this round.
Dragons are indigenous to Seattle.
Right?
Fact.
It's
Yeah.
true. As is Matt Damon.
Is he from Seattle?
No, there's a movie coming out.
That's a bad.
Listen, I've been off all show, Adam. Okay? Listen. They're not all going to work.
Okay.
I had a really good point about Phaneuf, and that's about all I've contributed today. I'm sorry, everybody.
Okay. That's all right. The MLB is apparently going to do a shootout with their extra innings.
So help me understand this. Or correct me if I'm wrong, but extra innings start, or the idea is extra innings start, and there's already someone on second.
That's exactly how it would go. So you start with a player on second instantly. Now that could be
Makes
good or
sense.
really bad. Like if you've got,
You think it makes
if you're the
sense?
Jays and Kendrys Morales is the guy on second base, that's not good.
See, yeah.
You can start it with whoever you want.
No.
Oh.
What's the rule?
I believe the rule is it's whoever's up next. I think.
Or who was previously out?
Yeah, that's what it's. That's what they're saying. Baseball is a wonderful sport. It doesn't actually say.
Okay.
Because if I can just throw Dalton Pompey out there,
Yeah.
My
if I can
assumption
just arbitrarily throw the fastest player on my team out there, that's great.
my assumption is that's not the case.
Okay.
That would be my assumption. That you can't just throw a because what do you do the next inning when it's tied? Because it's baseball. Somebody's going to tie it up. No, it has to be wherever you're at in the rotation of the batters.
So appropriate in this current climate that the all-American pastime is going to start with someone born on second. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it just so perfect?
It's perfect.
So poetic.
Poetic.
I don't
hate it. I don't love it.
I don't think they're going to
go.
go through with it.
It's baseball.
Yeah.
It's too conservative.
I don't think they're going to do it.
So an RBI single, like all you got to do is get a single.
Yeah.
That's it.
They're trying to
And that
not
ends the
have
game.
games go 8 hours.
I don't know. Yeah, but no, all you're doing is making it easier for both teams to score.
Right.
Yeah.
With the way it is, it's just harder for both teams to score. So, like,
But
I think you're just going to have higher scoring, longer games.
it's better that they generate a run in extra innings than they limit the amount of runs how it currently is.
Maybe. I've been to some boring extra inning games. It's not often that someone gets up and then it gets tied and then it continues. I went to like an 18 inning game, Jays Rangers, and I think it was just no runs for like 8 innings.
I saw a Jays.
It was brutal.
I saw a Jays Yankees game that went to 16 innings. And it was like Saturday afternoon. The game didn't end till like 6:30 p.m. and we'd been there
Yeah.
since 1. It was like, nah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm okay. That's the reason I say I'm okay with it is
Yeah.
because, yeah.
This will limit those games.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to that Jays game it started, first pitch was 1:07, and I was late for my shift at CBC down the street that started at 6. It was a long game.
And they stopped serving food and beer in the
Seventh inning!
The 7th, yeah.
oh,
So you're sitting there
why?
hungry
That's
and
a
you can't
silly
leave.
rule.
It's
Why?
ridiculous.
How come?
They have to stop serving booze. I don't think they have to stop serving food, but they
do
choose
They
to.
do, yeah.
They
I don't know.
have to?
No, I don't know if it's a rule, but they do
They
at the
do.
Rogers Center.
Yeah, it's probably so
Well,
that
they've
this-
got their liquor license taken away too many times.
It's probably the food staff. It's like for them to get home and get everything cleaned up on time.
Oh, I guess.
You know, because it's you
Yeah.
gotta clean your stations properly and stuff. It makes sense if it's a 9-inning game. You gotta prepare
Yeah,
for that.
yeah,
However,
okay.
you should prepare for extra innings and have like a French fry card or something, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do the press conference.
Do you guys want to take a look at the lacrosse names, or should we still hold on to these?
Lacrosse.
I don't have time.
Press conference.
I don't actually have time.
So we're gonna hold on to this.
We're gonna hold on to them.
Alright,
I know we are gonna do them, but I have to get out of here pretty soon.
How dare you?
I have another thing to get to.
Who is most likely to turn into the next Frankie Corrado for the Leafs?
Josh Levo.
Josh Levo is
Is.
currently the next Frankie Corrado.
Josh Levo.
How many of you listening right now went, "Oh yeah, oh right, I forgot about him." By the way, like Frank Corrado, they extended in the summer for just this year. They gave Levo 2 years. What's going on? I gotta think it's some kind of random, like expansion draft shenaniganery.
Yeah.
It's got to be because I looked at all the Leafs expansion draft options, and I'm like, they're not protecting this person. Like
Does Levo fit the 40-70 rule though?
I don't know.
I
I think, and I may be wrong, but I think he might just be cannon fodder. So, you acquire an extra guy.
2 years.
Well, look at it this way. So they have Levo still, and they still have Griffith. So now if one of them gets claimed, you still have one of Levo or Griffith. That's good.
Yeah.
If you got Marinson and Marchenko. But now if one of them gets claimed, you still have one of Marinson or Marchenko. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Maybe that's their logic. Other than that, I don't know. He hasn't played a whole lot of hockey this year.
No.
He's only played a handful more games than Corrado.
Yeah. Next year, I don't think we won't see this the same way. Like,
I think this is a one-off.
Yeah.
I hope it's a
I don't
one-off.
see this as the way that you can do business. You can't do business this way.
Also, they've been so damn healthy.
Yeah, they have. That's true.
Unbelievably healthy by Leaf standards.
Well, they're young. The Leafs are normally
Yeah,
old.
hey, maybe.
Who has the most third period goals this season
Like in the NHL?
in the entire
Players or
NHL?
teams?
Player.
Michael Grabner. I mean, that's a random guess. Michael Grabner.
That is a random guess.
He has 24 goals, I think.
Patrick Laine.
Michael Grabner.
Wow. Adam, look at Adam's eyes. That was a true shot in the dark, eh?
Woo! Yeah, it sure was.
Wow.
That was, throwing at a dartboard 50 miles away.
Man, this guy, go look
Who
through his
has
career. It's hilarious.
The most even strength goals this season.
Michael Grabner, I know
You're
that
kidding
one.
me.
Michael Grabner.
22 of 24. I looked at that stat yesterday. I believe Austin Matthews is second or third on that list.
He is second.
Wow.
22.
I'll take that. You know what? Leafs fans shouldn't even feel bad about that because go look through his career. He's got one season like this.
Yeah, and
it was years ago.
Yeah.
Every other season. Like, can you read off his goal totals, Jesse?
Grabner's?
Like his season by season goal totals? And, when there's a season where maybe he plays less than 60 games, just throw up an asterisk, like, oh, he was hurt.
So, we'll start in 09-10 with the Vancouver Canucks. Played 20 games, had 5 goals. Islanders, 76 games, 34 goals.
Whoa, this guy is going to have a long career as an outstanding goal scorer.
Year after that, 20 goals, 78 games with the Islanders again. 45 games, 16 goals.
Still good.
64 games, 12 goals.
Uh-oh.
Then 8 in 34. Then with the Leafs, 9 in 80. And this year, 25 in 52. What happened?
I don't know, man.
You took a shot in the dark, just like I did.
Also, 9 assists, so he's not really passing the buck that well.
What was his... Oh, it's Hockey DB. I would love to know his shooting percentage. So his shooting percentage last year and this year, his shooting percentage last year was stupid low, and this year it is stupid high.
He's shooting at 20% this year.
Come on.
So
it should be literally half. It should be literally half of
That's
that.
not possible.
It's possible.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
You know what, though? So what's he at right now? 28?
24 goals.
24
25,
goals.
25, sorry.
25.
25.
So and this is how unlucky he was last year. Even if you took away half his goals, like because of shooting percentage, you bring a shooting percentage back down to earth. He still has 3 more than he did all of last year.
Yep.
Yeah, he shot 7.8% last year.
He shot 7.8, and this year he's shooting 20.
Well, he deserves it. Good for him.
Career average is 12.8. That's actually pretty high.
As long as he doesn't score against the Leafs, I'm happy.
Yeah, by the way, last year's shooting percentage was the worst of his career.
Last question.
But hey, no, because guess what? They traded him in a trade.
Aston Matthews.
Exactly. They tried to shed roster spots with Grabner, and that's what they did. And they got Austin Matthews. Oh, they got nothing out of Grabner. Bullshit, they got Austin Matthews.
Final score tonight?
Who are they playing?
Leafs
St.
Blues.
Louis.
Oh, right. St. Louis.
Rematch.
I think the Leafs are going to win tonight. I think it's going to be 4-3.
I think it's going to be 3-2 Leafs.
You say Leafs.
Whoa.
Jesse.
Yeah, because I believe, man. It's my new thing I'm trying.
11-2 Leafs.
Whoa.
Wow.
You think Jake Allen gets lit up, huh?
I don't think he lasts half a period. It's gonna be a fire wagon of a game, boys.
Do we even know if he's the starter? Who cares?
I don't know.
It's going to be too late.
Well, then Jesse would be right.
It's true. He won't last half a period.
Yeah.
He will play 0 minutes. That's how bad. He's going to make 0 saves.
How bad he will
Jesse
be.
Blake, everybody. Jesse Blake. Wow. Wow.
You're welcome.
Hey,
don't know what
there's
I
a
did.
breaking rumor right now. Brandon Montour from the Ducks potentially to the Leafs.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's one of. So they had. Here's how good the Ducks have been at like drafting and developing defensemen. They have so many good young defensemen that I usually have to Google who they are.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that too.
Everyone's talking about this Josh Manson guy. I'm like, sorry, who? Who's that? I've never heard of him. And everyone's talking about like, he's this great player. You look and you're like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good. There was another guy. I'm trying to remember his name. And now this Montour guy.
Yep.
God, they're so good. That's why, by the way, despite the season he's having, Cam Fowler trade rumors still make sense.
Yep.
Still makes sense.
Right now, I believe now they make the most sense.
Yeah, they make more sense than they did previously. You're 100% right.
When is Cam Fowler going to have another year like this? Maybe he does.
They started the season with a glut of really good defensemen, and I think they currently have more than they started with.
Crazy.
It's so silly.
Report also, the Panthers say they're going to wait till season's end to reach out to Claude Julien.
Well, they might lose him. But that's
So,
okay.
yeah.
Whatever.
Why would they announce that?
Panthers, man.
Report from the Miami Herald.
All right. We got to wrap it up. Gentlemen, have yourselves a great weekend. I will be in Los Angeles.
Oh, for the Grammys.
For the Grammys. But I will be back before next podcast.
Where do you get to sit during the show?
Oh, I sat like way at the back.
That's still cool.
In the Staples Center, yeah. You're there.
Yeah, that's still
You're there.
I want to give everyone an idea of just how important Adam is. Who are you going to talk to?
I have no idea.
Bullshit, you have
No, I don't.
idea.
I don't. We
Who are your goals?
might get Chance the Rapper in a one-on-one, which is cool. Last year it was cool because red carpet. It was everybody from like Stevie Wonder to Lionel Richie to Alice Cooper to Joe Perry and Gene Simmons and like.
Listen to this dick.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's
really cool.
unreal.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go. 'cause I
Adam
got stuff to be at.
downplays how famous he really is.
Just tell me how Tay Tay is.
I will.
You know how you call her.
Ask about Dina.
Dina!
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.